Hey everyone, it's Brennan. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. Today we are going to wrap up all the books that I read during ENNEAGRAMATHON. So, ENNEAGRAMATHON has been a 2-week-long readathon based on your Enneagram type. I have been co-hosting Team 9 with Issa. Her channel is Ray and Shine. I'll link it below. And 9s are the peacekeepers. I'm a 1-winged 9, and when I looked into 1-winged 9s, they sounded very Pisces to me. Like, they were described as dreamy, and I was like, I really am just like the epitome of these things that I tell myself I am. And then I had like a long thought about it, and I was like, am I actually this way, or am I just this way because I think I'm supposed to be this way? Anyway, I had a little existential moment there, but I also said that I was going to vlog ENNEAGRAMATHON and all the books that I read. Well, that didn't really happen. I was gone out of town on vacation the first week of ENNEAGRAMATHON, and I thought that would make for fun vlogging, but I just relaxed. I just hung out. I just read books, and it was a great time. On that trip, I read like 3 or 4 books. Really, I read 4 books, but I didn't count one of them for this because I had already mostly finished it by the time ENNEAGRAMATHON started. Anyway, I'm rambling. Also, for this video, I wanted to try some cookies. So Haley from Haley Hughes, I'll leave her channel below. She's the thriller queen. We were live sprinting for ENNEAGRAMATHON this week, and she mentioned Crumbl cookies, and I was like, I think I've heard of that before, but I've never tried them. So boy, do I have a treat for you and myself today. I got this beautiful box of cookies. I'm gonna see like how close I can get you to see that. They smell so good, and their store smelled so good. Okay, honestly, it was like the best in-store experience I've ever had. I walked in and I ordered my cookies and paid on a screen, and then literally seconds later, they called my name with this beautiful box of cookies. So I'm going to be like a toddler and try a bite of each of these for you today in between book descriptions, just for, you know, a little bit of a vlog aspect. But this is a Hawaiian rainbow cake. This is a pineapple whip cookie. This is a shark sugar cookie, and then just your traditional macadamia nut. They have new flavors every week. I wish I could say this is a sponsored video. It is absolutely not. But they have new cookie flavors every week, and they have Hawaiian flavors this week because they opened their first store in Hawaii soon. So let's just go ahead and let's start with one of these. 2 of them are the warm cookies. I'll try the Hawaiian rainbow cake one first. Beautiful. The icing is so soft on it. That's super good. It kind of tastes like a coconut cream cake, but as a cookie. Kind of mixed with a sugar cookie and like birthday cake. Hawaiian rainbow cake. That's like probably the perfect description for that. So good, excellent. Wow, I would eat a box of these. And then I had to make a cup of coffee to go with all these. Black coffee, sweet cookies, the perfect combo. So y'all are gonna have to forgive me if I get stuff in my teeth. Don't point it out in the comments, just show compassion, okay? So as of this moment, it's actually not completely done with ENNEAGRAMATHON. Today's the 13th. Is today the 13th? Yeah? Today's the 13th, so there's one more day left, but I wanted to go ahead and wrap up what I've read so far. I have at this point completed all the Team 9 prompts. I will just go in order on this. So our first prompt was Hype Man. Read a book with a great friend, a supportive character, a good sidekick. And Kirsten from Kirsten's Corner told me to read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I finished this just a couple hours ago, and it is everything that I want in a Colleen Hoover book. It's painful. It's hopeful. It has great characters that have great character development. It's dramatic. It's messy. It's everything I want. I don't want to talk too much about it because I didn't know anything going into it, but we do have a really good supportive friend in here. Her name is Allison. Our main character, her name is Lily. Her name's Lily Bloom, and she wants to open a flower shop. And she has this girl named Allison just walk in like, hey, I'm going to work here. And then I won't tell you much about that, but we have 2 different timelines. We have a timeline from Lily's childhood that is told in journal entries from when she was 16, and then we have her current timeline. She's like 24, 25 now. And the theme of this book is domestic violence. I don't know if that makes you want to read this book, but it's romantic. It's drama filled. It has great friendship. It has great family relationships. It has long lost love, and it's just really great in a way that only Colleen Hoover can be. So this was 5 stars. Thank you, Kirsten, for making me pick up this book that has been on my shelf for too long. Our next prompt was cozy vibes. And that could be, you know, listen to some ambience while you're listening to music, or is it ambience? Ambiance? That's the bougie way to say it. Make yourself cozy while you're reading, or read a cozy book. What I did was I read Shipped by Angie Hockman at the beach. So this was great atmospheric beach vibes. This is an adult romance, but like, I don't know, when I say adult romance, this was not on the steamier side. This was more just on the great story, great characters, great relationship, fun time, but also meaningful side of adult romance. So this is following our main characters. They work for a cruise company that does like these really interesting cruises that are more like adventure based. And they are up for a promotion. They've never actually met each other in real life. They've only worked virtually together, and they're both up for the same promotion, and their company sends them on a cruise together. Their like promotion competition is to come up with a marketing plan, and they want them to go on a cruise together and experience what they want to sell their customers. And they kind of hate each other. Okay, I won't say they hate each other, but our female main character has developed a little bit of hate for our male main character because they kind of had like this weird interaction when he first started working for their company, and she's kind of harbored some feelings about that. She is very sensitive about being a woman trying to climb the ladder to the E level in the workplace because she's had some bad experiences at previous jobs. So she's just like aware of that. And so she doesn't let herself get bulldozed over anymore. Like, that's her goal. And she really wants this promotion. And he really wants this promotion too, but they just have the best atmospheric time getting to know each other, getting past that initial like tension that they developed when they started working together. And he just supports her a lot in her career mindedness as they develop their relationship. But they do really cool tropical things like go on hikes in the Galapagos Islands. That's where this takes place mostly. They like kayak, they see lots of different wildlife things, they snorkel. It was a great tropical time, especially at the beach. This was another 5-star book. Okay, after talking about Shipped, I have to try this shark cookie. Look how perfect, I cannot even. The cutest little sugar cookie bite. I'm sadly not a cookie expert, but if you want a sugar cookie, that was so good. So, the next book I have to talk about is my first Kristen Hanna book. It was Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna, obviously. I read this for the friend picks a book for my TBR prompt, and my friend Hannah, who I work with, has recommended this book to me. And I don't know why I really picked this one up. So I had picked another book that she had lent me, and she was like, if you're gonna read a book that I recommend to you, you should read Winter Garden. So friends, I picked up Winter Garden, and I kind of hated it. I will definitely read some more Kristen Hanna, but this story, I couldn't get behind the story. But I could get behind the story that was within the story, but the overarching story I hated. Let me explain. So, per what I believe is kind of a Kristen Hanna usual, this is World War II centered, but we're in present day. Actually, we're in like the 2000s. So, semi-present day, what I still assume to be present day, but I'm old. It's like the year 2000. We're following kind of 2 sisters. They are in their late 30s. I think one of them may have just turned 40, but they live in Seattle, and they are from a family that like has an orchard, like a very successful orchard, but their mom is Russian and they don't know very much about her history. And growing up, they had just resigned themselves, like after they had probably turned like 11 or 12, they had resigned themselves to accepting that their mom does not love them. Like, she has never shown any warmth toward them. All of the love in their family kind of came from their dad, and they just like have literally accepted into their adulthood that their mom hates them, like has no interest in them, and would prefer that they not be around. So, you know, they're super adults now. They're super adults. They have careers. One of them has children, and the one who has children still works with the orchard because their parents are now elderly, like in their 80s. Their parents are elderly. Then the story of this is that their learning their mom's backstory. They have some tragedy happen, and then they get a chance to learn their mom's backstory, which is centered around Leningrad during World War II, which is horribly tragic. Like, the city starved because Germany sieged them. I'm not a war term expert and I'm not a history expert, but from reading this book, that is what I've gathered. I've also read City of Thieves by David Benioff, and that was during the same time. That was an excellent book. If you want Russia and World War II, I would pick that book up instead. Anyway, so they're learning their mom's backstory. So their mom used to tell them fairy tales, and you can obviously, as the reader, figure out that these fairy tales were actually her life. And as children, they thought they were fairy tales, but now as older adults, they're learning that about their mom's actual past, and she's telling more of the story. But I just really didn't like this. I gave it 2 stars. I gave it 2 stars because the storytelling was good, but I hated the sisters. I hated them. They were so petty towards each other, and they threw pity parties for themselves, and they just felt really sorry for themselves a lot. And what I just could not accept was that their dad, who is portrayed as this super loving, supportive character, would not see his daughters visibly suffering as young children because of the lack of affection from their mom, and not be like, oh, sorry girls, your mom has had a rough past, just be compassionate with that, and then maybe that would have helped them. I just could not accept that they had gotten to the point that they were both the sisters in their family, and not had any knowledge about their mom at all. It was so unbelievable to me. Anyway, the mom's story is super interesting, but I hated our present day timeline, literally hated it. Hated the sisters. They were so stubborn and selfish. And yeah, and the ending was kind of really weird, really pulled on the tears, and did very specific things that I was just you're just trying to get an emotional rise out of me, and I know a lot about emotions, and I'm not buying it. There's one thing, you may know if you've read this, if you know, you know, but I was you didn't have to do that. That was a little over the top. So yeah, 2 stars for that one. And then the last Team 9 prompt was our buddy read, which has gone over kind of lackluster in our Discord. It was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I loved this. I just love how Sally Rooney writes a book. I really do. And when I say that, I mean, I love a boring book that is also super interesting. So the story of this really is pretty boring, but I love seeing characters just do day-to-day things and hearing about their thoughts when they are kind of, I don't want to say more artistic minded people, but just they have really interesting minds, and I like to hear their thoughts. So this is following a girl. She's in college. She's 21. She's a poet. She does poet readings, and she has a friend who she does these readings with, but she also used to be in a relationship with this friend, so there's a weird dynamic there. And then this story also has some cheating in it, which I usually really don't like in a book, but this was kind of, I don't want to say this made me feel intellectual. I hate saying that, but our characters just thought a lot. I don't even really want to talk about, I don't want to spoil anything of who this cheating is going on with. And it's just the characters are kind of pushovers, yet pushy sometimes. It's a character study. It's basically a character study of this girl in college who doesn't really know what she wants, but just wants it to happen to her. And she also has a really weird relationship with her dad. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. I don't know how to make you want to read it. A lot of people in our Discord did not like it, and I get it. It's boring, the characters are frustrating, the tropes are questionable, but I really liked it, and that is what I'll say about this book. I gave it 5 stars. Okay, that book was super yellow, so let's try the pineapple whip cookie. That was super good too. Maybe I'm just really easy to please. Dole Whip? It's Dole Whip on a really soft cookie. And it's tart and fruity and it was just really good. Excellent cookie. So those are the 4 books I used to complete my Team 9 prompts, and then I was trying to do the Team 1 prompts also, since it's like my main Enneagram, and I have read 2 books for that team so far. I believe their first prompt is a book with an even number of pages, because you know that's just really satisfying, and ones like to kind of have some order to things. And for this I read The Plot by Jean, oh I'm so sorry, I do not know the name of this author. Jean Hanff Korelitz. Yes. This was also Jimmy Fallon's summer book club pick, is why I wanted to read it. I'm not really participating in the book club, but there was just attention around it and I wanted to read it. So this is a thriller, and it's a thriller about an author. It's funny because both of these Team 1 books are both thrillers about authors. So we're following this author who has had like one pretty popular book, but after that he released a second book, didn't get as much attention, and at this point that's been several years ago, so he's kind of like sees himself as a failed author, and he is teaching at like this abbreviated master's of fine arts program that's focused on writing. So he has a student who's like the super arrogant guy, and he's like, I have this idea for a book and it's going to be a bestseller, like I just know it. It's going to have movies made, it's going to be on every celebrity book club, I just know this book is going to be it. And then this isn't really a spoiler, but that student dies, and then our author, main character, I apologize for my cat eating lunch. That happens a lot in these videos. But our author main character is like, well, he told me about this plot and it really is a good plot and it needs to be written, so I'm just going to write it. He doesn't really plagiarize any of his writing, he just takes that idea and writes the book and achieves all of that fame. And then things snowball from there. Maybe he should have left that plot alone, maybe it wasn't his to take, and some stuff starts happening. That's all I'll say, because it's a thriller. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was super interesting. I gave it 4 stars. It was a quick read. I really wanted to know what happened. My one complaint is that I wish we would have learned more about one of the characters in this book, and then I think I could have enjoyed it a lot more. I won't say too much. I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say anything else. I liked this book. It was good, and I would recommend it. And the last book that I have read for Enneagramathon so far is Who is Maud Dixon? By another author that I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Alexandra Andrews. I actually think this is a debut novel. And I read this book for the 5-star prediction because I'm adding Caroline from Caroline Johnson. She gave this book 5 stars, so I thought I would like it, and I did like it. I gave it 4 stars. Not quite 5, but it was still really good. It's another book about an author. Kind of. Yes. Okay, yes. So, who is Maud Dixon? So in this book, there has been a book that was released, and it was a super popular multi-million sales book, picked for all the book clubs, just like critically acclaimed novel. And it is by an author named Maud Dixon, but she does not exist. No one knows who the real author of this book is until that author reaches out to our main character, who is a hopeful author. She hasn't written anything and she's just been working for this publishing company. And then Maud Dixon and her team pick her up to be Maud's assistant. And then you meet the author, and then they go on kind of an adventure together, and then some stuff happens. And what I have heard is really important is that you do not read the Goodreads synopsis of this book. Don't read what's on the back of the book if you pick up the physical copy. Don't read the flap. Don't read anything about it. And I did go back and read the synopsis after I had finished it already. Yeah, they like just flat out say something that I did not see coming at all. Something that happens like kind of halfway through the book that is what I would consider a big twist. They just blatantly talk about it on the back cover. So maybe don't do that. I think you would enjoy it more if you didn't. So twisty, turny, a really interesting thriller. We go out of the country a little bit during it, and that was really interesting. They go to Morocco. I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it 4 stars. I've just been on a big thriller kick. But those have been the 6 books that I have read so far for Enneagramathon. I'm in the middle of one of the Winston Brothers books. So if I finish Dr. Strangebeard, I think is what it's called. It's Roscoe's book. He's the youngest Winston brother, and he's a vet, and he has a really good memory. And his love interest is Simone, and she is an FBI agent. wow, it is just so exciting so far. So I'm like probably 30% into that book. If I finish it in the next couple days, I'll count it for a prompt. I know one of the Team 2 prompts is read a book in a series, so I may finish that up. And another book that I'm currently reading is Fury Born by Claire Legrand. I've had this book in my Kindle library for forever. It's a fantasy book, and I have been in such the fantasy mood lately. I haven't read a fantasy book, honestly, since Rhythm of War came out, which was in late 2020, and I think I finished it in January of this year. So it's been like 6 months since I've read a fantasy book. Wow, that's super sad. And I was just feeling it, and I was sitting at work, and I needed a Kindle book, and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm diving into Fury Born. It's a YA fantasy. I believe it's YA, pretty sure. But there is like this kingdom. I don't know too much about it. I've just heard like good reviews on it, but there's this kingdom, and there's been this queen who kind of came and messed things up, maybe, or maybe she's protecting them. I don't know. But there's this queen, and in the very first chapter of the book, she's giving birth to the princess. Then, once the princess is born, we kind of split off into dual timelines. We get the queen's past, and then I guess like a present day. I'm not far into this at all, like maybe 3 chapters, not far at all. But I hear good things, and it's good. It just feels good to be back in a fantasy book, so I've been enjoying it a lot. But I'm just sitting here holding the last bite of these cookies, white chocolate macadamia nut, to wrap up this video. A traditional fave of mine. I've always been more of a white chocolate macadamia nut versus a chocolate chip cookie. I don't know if that makes me crazy, but that was really good. I love with cookies that they're like a little bit salty. I'd love for my desserts to be a little salty. Like, I will sprinkle salt on a dessert sometimes because I just love that combination. But anyway, you all, sorry I didn't vlog Enneagramathon, but there's my wrap up. There were some cookies. I hope you've had a good time. I've had a good time. I hope Team 9 wins. By the time this video goes up, we'll probably know who the winner was. We've like been up there. We've been hanging out in the 3 spot. So top 3 would be nice. You know us 9s, the peacekeepers. As long as everyone's happy, I'm happy. But thank you all for watching. Let me know if you participated in Enneagramathon, what team you were on, what your favorite book was that you read. I would love to know. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one.